Have you noticed that simple things seem harder after 70? Standing up from a chair takes more effort. Walking across a parking lot leaves you slightly out of breath. Carrying groceries that once felt light now feels surprisingly heavy. Many people assume these changes are just part of getting older. They tell themselves, well, I'm over 70 now. Of course I'm slowing down. But what if that's not the whole story? What if some of the weakness you're experiencing isn't simply age at all? After decades of working with older adults, doctors and researchers have discovered something remarkable. The seniors who remain active, independent, and energetic well into their 80s and 90s are often not the ones with the best genetics. They're the ones who recognize the warning signs of declining strength early and take action before those changes become serious. Today, we're going to talk about 7 warning signs that your body may be losing strength after 70. These signs often appear gradually. They don't arrive overnight. In fact, many people miss them completely because each change seems small by itself. But together, they can quietly affect your mobility, balance, confidence, independence, and overall quality of life. The good news is that every warning sign you'll hear today comes with practical steps that can help you slow, stop, and sometimes even reverse the decline. Before we begin, I'd love to hear from you. How old are you, and which country are you watching from today? Leave a comment below and let our community know. We have viewers from all over the world, and it's always inspiring to see so many people committed to healthy aging together. And if you're interested in simple, science-based longevity habits that help seniors stay strong, independent, and active for as long as possible, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. New videos are released regularly to help you protect your health, your mobility, and your independence. Let me tell you about Helen. At 74 years old, Helen considered herself relatively healthy. She didn't have any major diseases. She wasn't hospitalized. Her medical checkups were mostly normal. Yet something was changing. She found herself using her hands to push herself out of chairs. She walked a little slower each month. She avoided stairs whenever possible. By late afternoon, she often felt completely drained. Like many seniors, Helen believed this was simply what aging looked like. But she was wrong. What she was experiencing were early warning signs that her body was gradually losing strength. Once she recognized those signs and made a few targeted changes, the improvement surprised even her doctor. The first warning sign is something almost every senior experiences at some point. Yet very few people realize how important it really is. Can you stand up from a chair without using your hands? It sounds like a simple question. In fact, it may be one of the most important indicators of strength and independence after 70. Many seniors don't notice when this change begins because it happens gradually. One day, you place a hand on the armrest for a little extra support. A few months later, you're pushing yourself up every time you stand. Eventually, getting out of a chair feels like a small workout. Most people assume this is simply part of getting older, but what they're actually seeing is often a warning sign of declining lower body strength. The muscles in your thighs, hips, and core are responsible for helping you rise from a seated position. These same muscles help you walk safely, climb stairs, get out of bed, and recover your balance if you stumble. When these muscles weaken, everyday life becomes harder. Research consistently shows that lower body strength is one of the strongest predictors of independence in older adults. Seniors who maintain strong leg muscles are more likely to continue living independently, avoid falls, and stay active well into their later years. The danger is that muscle loss often occurs silently. After the age of 70, adults can lose significant muscle mass every decade if they remain inactive. The process is gradual enough that many people don't notice it until everyday activities suddenly become difficult. That's exactly what happened to Helen. At first, she only needed her hands to stand up from low chairs. Then she started avoiding seats without armrests. A few months later, she noticed that getting out of her car required extra effort. None of these changes seemed serious on their own. But together, they revealed a larger problem. Her lower body strength was declining. Fortunately, the solution wasn't complicated. Helen began performing a simple exercise called the sit-to-stand. Every morning, she sat in a sturdy chair and stood up slowly 10 times without using her hands whenever possible. At first, it felt challenging. But within a few weeks, she noticed something remarkable. Standing became easier. Walking felt more stable. Her confidence began returning. You can try a simple test right now. Sit in a chair with your arms crossed over your chest. Can you stand up smoothly without using your hands? If it feels difficult, don't panic. Think of it as valuable information, not failure. Your body is giving you an early warning, and the earlier you respond, the easier it is to rebuild strength. But standing up from a chair isn't the only signal your body sends. The second warning sign often appears long before people realize their strength is fading, and it shows up every time they walk. Have you noticed that other people seem to be walking faster than you these days? Perhaps family members naturally move ahead while you're trying to keep up. Maybe crossing a parking lot takes longer than it once did. Or perhaps you've started avoiding longer walks because they feel more tiring than they used to. Many seniors assume slower walking is simply an unavoidable part of aging. But doctors often view walking speed very differently. In fact, some researchers call walking speed the sixth vital sign because it reveals so much about a person's overall health, strength, and longevity. Your walking speed depends on several systems working together. Your leg muscles must generate enough force to propel you forward. Your heart and lungs must deliver oxygen efficiently. Your nervous system must coordinate balance and movement. When any of these systems begin to decline, your walking speed often decreases before you notice other symptoms. The change usually happens so gradually that it's easy to miss. You don't wake up one morning walking significantly slower. Instead, your stride becomes slightly shorter. You pause more often. You choose the closest parking spaces. You begin avoiding hills or longer routes. Over time, these small adjustments become your new normal. That's exactly what happened to Helen. A few years earlier, she enjoyed taking long walks around her neighborhood. Then, she noticed herself shortening her route. Later, she began stopping to rest on benches she had previously walked past without a second thought. She told herself she was simply getting older. What she didn't realize was that her body was quietly losing strength and endurance. The encouraging news is that walking speed can often improve. Helen committed to walking every day, even when she didn't feel particularly motivated. She started with just 10 minutes each morning. Nothing intense, nothing exhausting, just consistent movement. After several weeks, she noticed she wasn't stopping as often. Her steps felt stronger. Her confidence improved. Most importantly, she began enjoying walks again, instead of viewing them as a chore. If you've become slower over the past few years, don't assume the process is irreversible. Start where you are. Walk for 10 minutes each day. Focus on standing tall, taking steady strides, and gradually building consistency. Your goal isn't speed. Your goal is rebuilding the strength and endurance that support healthy movement. Because once walking becomes difficult, many other activities soon become difficult as well. And that leads directly to the third warning sign, one that can show up in your hands long before you notice it anywhere else in your body. When was the last time you struggled to open a jar? Perhaps you've noticed that carrying grocery bags feels harder than it once did. Maybe opening a bottle requires both hands now. Or perhaps you've started asking someone else for help with tasks that used to be effortless. Most people think these are minor inconveniences, but doctors often see them as important warning signs. Grip strength is one of the strongest predictors of overall physical health in older adults. In fact, researchers have found that weaker grip strength is associated with reduced mobility, higher fall risk, greater disability, and even shorter lifespan. That may sound surprising. After all, what do your hands have to do with the rest of your body? Quite a lot, actually. Your grip strength reflects the health of your muscles as a whole. When your body begins losing muscle mass and strength, your hands are often among the first places where the changes become noticeable. The same process that weakens your grip may also be weakening your legs, hips, shoulders, and core. That's why paying attention to these small changes matters. Helen first noticed it while carrying groceries into her kitchen. Bags that once felt light seemed unusually heavy. She found herself making more trips because carrying everything at once had become difficult. Later, she struggled to open a jar of pasta sauce. At first, she laughed it off, but over time, these moments became more frequent. What she didn't realize was that her body was sending another warning signal. Her overall strength was declining. Fortunately, muscle loss isn't always permanent. The body continues responding to training even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Helen started with simple exercises. She squeezed a soft therapy ball while watching television. She carried light hand weights a few times each week. She practiced lifting and carrying everyday objects safely around her home. The changes were gradual, but after several months, she noticed something encouraging. Opening jars became easier. Carrying groceries felt less demanding. Even daily chores required less effort. If your hands feel weaker than they did a few years ago, don't ignore it. Think of it as an early warning sign rather than an unavoidable consequence of aging. Small improvements in strength can create meaningful improvements in independence, because the goal isn't simply having stronger hands. The goal is maintaining the ability to live life on your own terms. And there's another warning sign that may be even more important than grip strength. It's the reason many seniors begin worrying about falls long before they actually experience one. Have you ever reached for a wall, a countertop, or a piece of furniture just to steady yourself? Maybe you've noticed a brief wobble when stepping off a curb. Perhaps you feel less confident walking on uneven ground, or maybe you've caught yourself thinking, I need to be careful not to fall. If so, you're not alone. One of the most important warning signs of declining physical strength after 70 is a gradual loss of balance. The problem is that balance doesn't disappear overnight. It fades quietly. Most seniors don't suddenly fall one day without warning. Instead, their body gives subtle signals for months or even years beforehand. You may feel slightly unsteady while turning around. You may hesitate before stepping onto a staircase. You may avoid certain activities because they no longer feel safe. These small changes matter. Balance is far more complex than most people realize. It depends on strong leg muscles, a responsive nervous system, healthy vision, and the ability of your brain to quickly process information about your body's position in space. When any of these systems begin to weaken, your risk of falling increases. And falls are not minor events for older adults. A single serious fall can lead to broken bones, hospitalization, loss of independence, and months of recovery. That's why experts often consider balance problems an early warning sign that should never be ignored. Helen discovered this while gardening. One afternoon, she bent down to pull a few weeds and felt unexpectedly unstable when she stood up. A few days later, she stumbled slightly while stepping off a sidewalk. Neither incident caused a fall, but both incidents caught her attention. For the first time, she realized she wasn't moving with the same confidence she once had. Instead of ignoring the warning signs, she decided to take action. She began practicing simple balance exercises for just a few minutes each day. She stood on one foot while holding onto a kitchen counter. She walked slowly heel to toe down a hallway. She joined a beginner Tai Chi class at her local community center. The improvements weren't immediate, but after several weeks something changed. She felt steadier, more confident, less afraid of falling. If you've noticed even minor balance issues, don't wait until a fall forces you to act. Balance can often be improved when addressed early. Just a few minutes of daily practice can strengthen the muscles and coordination systems that keep you upright and independent. Because once people begin losing confidence in their balance, they often become less active. And that leads directly to the fifth warning sign, feeling exhausted after activities that once seemed easy. Do simple activities leave you feeling completely drained? Maybe making the bed feels like more work than it used to. Perhaps carrying groceries from the car leaves you short of breath. Or maybe after a trip to the grocery store, all you want to do is sit down and rest. Many seniors assume this is simply what happens after 70. But constant exhaustion after routine activities is often a warning sign that your body's endurance is declining. Healthy aging doesn't mean you should feel energetic every moment of every day. Everyone gets tired occasionally. The concern arises when ordinary tasks begin requiring extraordinary effort, when climbing a flight of stairs feels exhausting, when a short walk leaves you winded, when household chores that once seemed easy now feel overwhelming. These changes often occur because the body's cardiovascular system and muscles are no longer working as efficiently as they once did. Your heart may be pumping less effectively. Your muscles may be using oxygen less efficiently. Your stamina may be gradually shrinking because you're moving less than you used to. And unfortunately, this creates a dangerous cycle. The more exhausted you feel, the less active you become. The less active you become, the more your endurance declines. Then everyday activities feel even harder. Before long, you may find yourself avoiding activities you once enjoyed simply because they require too much energy. That's exactly what happened to Helen. A few years earlier, she spent entire afternoons gardening without a second thought. She enjoyed shopping, visiting friends, and taking walks around town. But gradually, she began noticing a pattern. Simple errands left her exhausted. Household chores took longer. By late afternoon, she often felt as though her energy had completely disappeared. At first, she blamed her age. Then she realized something important. Her body wasn't becoming weaker because she was aging. It was becoming weaker because she was doing less and less physical activity. Once Helen understood this, she made a commitment to move every day. Nothing extreme, no intense workouts, no complicated fitness programs. She simply started walking consistently, taking the stairs more often, and staying active throughout the day. Within a few weeks, she noticed meaningful improvements. Her energy lasted longer. Daily tasks felt easier. Activities that once exhausted her became manageable again. If routine activities are leaving you drained, don't automatically assume it's an unavoidable part of growing older. Your body may be asking for more movement, not less. Because one of the most powerful ways to build energy is to use energy wisely and consistently. And there's another warning sign that quietly accelerates weakness in many older adults, a problem that often begins at the dinner table. Have you ever looked at your plate and thought, I eat every day, so why do I feel weaker every year? This is one of the most common and misunderstood problems after 70. Many seniors believe that as long as they aren't skipping meals, their bodies are getting everything they need. But the truth is that eating enough food and eating enough protein are two very different things. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at maintaining muscle. Scientists call this process age-related muscle loss, and it can happen even when a person appears to be eating normally. The result is surprising. You may maintain the same weight. You may eat 3 meals a day. You may never feel hungry, yet your muscles can still be slowly shrinking. And when muscle mass declines, strength declines with it. That's why some seniors notice they feel weaker despite having no major illness. The problem isn't always how much they're eating. It's often what they're eating. Helen discovered this during a routine conversation with her doctor. When asked about her meals, she described what she considered a healthy diet. Toast for breakfast, soup for lunch, a small dinner in the evening. Nothing seemed obviously wrong. But when her doctor calculated her daily protein intake, it was far below what her body needed to maintain muscle. Like many older adults, Helen was eating enough calories to survive but not enough protein to stay strong. Once she understood the problem, she made several simple changes. She added eggs to breakfast. She included fish, chicken, or Greek yogurt more often. She made sure every meal contained a meaningful source of protein. The results weren't immediate, but within a few months, she noticed something important. She felt stronger. Her walks became easier. Getting out of chairs required less effort, and she felt more confident performing everyday activities. If you're over 70, one of the most important questions you can ask yourself is not, am I eating enough? Instead ask, am I eating enough protein to maintain my strength? Because muscles are built from protein. Without enough of it, your body struggles to repair, preserve, and rebuild the tissue that keeps you mobile and independent. And there is one final warning sign that many seniors dismiss as normal aging, even though it may be revealing a deeper problem affecting the entire body. It happens every morning, just moments after you wake up. Have you ever slept through the entire night, only to wake up feeling as tired as when you went to bed? Many seniors accept this as a normal part of aging, but in reality, waking up exhausted every morning is often a warning sign that something deeper is happening inside the body. Sleep is supposed to restore you. During the night, your brain organizes memories, your muscles repair themselves, and your body produces many of the hormones needed for energy and recovery. When these processes are disrupted, you may spend 8 or even 9 hours in bed and still feel completely drained the next day. That is exactly what happened to Helen. For years, she believed she was getting enough sleep. She went to bed at a reasonable hour and rarely stayed up late. Yet every morning she woke feeling sluggish and unmotivated. She assumed it was simply because she was getting older. But after speaking with her doctor, she discovered that her sleep quality was poor. Frequent awakenings, light sleep, and possible breathing interruptions were preventing her body from getting the deep restorative sleep it needed. Once she improved her sleep habits and addressed the underlying issues, her mornings began to change. She woke up feeling clearer, more alert, more energetic. If you regularly wake up tired, don't ignore it. Your body may be trying to tell you that it isn't recovering properly during the night. Poor sleep can contribute to weakness, balance problems, memory difficulties, low mood, and declining physical strength. The encouraging news is that sleep quality can often be improved. And when it improves, many other aspects of health improve along with it. Now that you've heard all 7 warning signs, you may recognize one or perhaps several in your own life. The important thing to remember is this: growing older does not automatically mean becoming weak. The earlier you identify these warning signs, the more opportunity you have to protect your strength, your independence, and your quality of life. Today, we've explored 7 warning signs that your body may be losing strength after 70. 1. Struggling to stand up from a chair. 2. Walking slower than before. 3. Losing grip strength. 4. Having balance problems. 5. Feeling exhausted after simple tasks. 6. Eating enough but still getting weaker. 7. Waking up tired every morning. If any of these signs sound familiar, don't be discouraged. The most important lesson from Helen's story is that these changes are not always permanent. In many cases, they are your body's early warning signals, signals that give you the opportunity to take action before weakness becomes disability. Remember, strength is not reserved for the young. Your body continues to respond to movement, proper nutrition, quality sleep, and healthy daily habits throughout your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Small actions, repeated consistently, can create remarkable results over time. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 7 warning signs concerns you the most? Leave a comment below with the number that best matches your experience. And if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every day, we share practical, science-based longevity habits designed to help you stay strong, independent, and active for as many years as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.